those people who want to join us. It's a bit odd that there's very few people here.
Well, it's a very, apart from, the short days, it's probably quite a busy time of year, one way or another. And the cold doesn't help.
Festive shopping, of course. Yes.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Oh, dear. Yep. Oh, right. They're starting to come in now. Here we go. Everybody arrives last minute, you see.
Well, yes.
Shalom, Sandra. Shalom, Bernie.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, Bridget.
Shabbat shalom. Lovely to see you.
And you.
You look nice and warm there, Bernie.
Yeah. Most of me, anyway.
Most of you. That's it. It's when you turn up wearing a balaclava we're going to start worrying.
That might happen.
Oh dear. It's as bad as that, is it?
Yes, it's very cold here.
It is.
Not where we are. I mean, outside.
Yes, we went
Winter is here.
Yeah, no, it's been definitely hat and gloves and coat and jumper weather. Definitely.
Yes. How's Mandy?
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine.
Good.
Unfortunately, she's got security duty tomorrow at the shul, so she's going to be dressing up very well.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. She'll need plenty of warm clothes.
Yeah, or plenty of cups of tea, I should imagine.
Stefan, it's terrific being nearly 90.
Is it?
You should only know.
Now then, this is my phone's just gone off. I hope that's nothing untoward. Okay. No. I was concerned when my phone just went off. I was worried it might be Kathleen saying she can't get in, but no, we'll wait a few minutes for the rabbi.
Green. Yeah.
It's unusual. Rabbi's normally here by now. We'll give it a few minutes, I think. If not, I will.
It's only just 7, isn't it?
It's only just 7, but normally the rabbi's here a few minutes beforehand. It's unusual for her not to be here at 7, but if not, I will do it. But it will be a bit unrehearsed, so to speak.
All right. We'll do it very well.
Wow. We'll give it a couple of minutes. It's surprising there's nobody else here tonight. Oh, here we go. I know Danielle. That's Danielle coming in. Oh, Shabbat Shalom, Danielle. I know, can't hear us yet.
Oh, yes.
Shabbat Shalom, Danielle. And I assume Shabbat Shalom, Poppy, who is probably sitting around waiting patiently. Yeah, I thought so. There we go. That's it. Won't be long. Yes, we're just waiting for the arrival of our rabbi, and then we'll get started, hopefully.
Can I ask Danielle, would Poppy normally be in that room, or does she only come in that room when it's Friday night and there's a holler?
Well, she has beds in most rooms downstairs. Yes. She can't get upstairs anymore, but she has. I brought her upstairs bed down, and she moves between beds, trying to keep as close an eye on humans in the house as possible.
They're good companions.
Yeah. 15 years, 4 months she is now.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's a bit of a record.
That's a good age.
Yeah, for Cavaliers who only live to 10 on average.
Yes, she's doing very very well. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Yes,
Shabbat
you're still on mute, Kathleen.
Sorry, I'm so not used to not looking at my special microphone.
We'll have to arrange another one for you. Is it? We'll have to
It doesn't
sort one
seem
out
to
for you.
work anymore.
Can you hear okay?
There you go. Right. Do you need a couple of minutes just to sort yourself out, Kathleen, or?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, well, in which case then we'll Shabbat Shalom and welcome everybody. I'm going to put everybody on mute a second. That's it. So you're all on mute, and as usual, be on mute during the service, but I'm going to unmute Rabbi Kathleen, and Rabbi, over to you.
Shalom, everyone, and good to see you. And goodness me, it's so dark and cold. I don't know if it's cold in Paris as well, but it is very cold here in England. Yes, I see a big shade. So before we start, I'm going to put on my talit to make sure I'm ready for this service. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'yitatef b'tzitzit. And to make sure that we are ready for this service, I just have a very short introductory meditation, which is in our Reform Prayer book. Here we have it. So it's from his famous rabbi, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav. Feel the tribulations of the individual and of the multitude, and implore God to ease their burden. This idea of trying to feel the pain of the world, the individuals and those around us. I think for the last nearly 2 months now, we've been feeling a lot of pain of the world. And I think it helps us to focus, to implore God, to ease their burden. And so by doing that, ours as well. So that brings us to the opening of our service. And I'd like to start with Ma Tovu, page 101, 105 in the Liberal Siddur. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishknotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, this sanctuary we create online, and your dwelling places, your homes, O Israel, as we look at each other and show our own homes to one another. And with that, we also add, we always do, but this time I really want to mention it, Ma tovu ohalayich Leah, mishknotayich Rachel. And how good are your tents, O Leah, and your homes, O Rachel. Because we are in our reading of Torah, right in that part where we learn of the matriarchs, the mothers as well, and their struggles and tribulations and their pain. To get recognition, to have children, to do the things that establishes them, and in the end establish us as well. And we mirror ourselves in those stories. So please do join in. I'm sorry that after all those years we still can't properly sing together, but it's lovely to see people singing as well. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohaleich Leah, mishkanotayich Yisrael. And so we have created holy space. Let us create holy time as we light the Shabbat candles. And if you haven't done so yourself, you want to join with me, you're welcome to do so. So if you have not yet lit the candles, but you haven't got them with you, You can say the blessing with me as well. Together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. As we have with this single act brought Shabbat in our home, let us turn to page 104, page 76 in the liberal Siddur, as we sing Shalom Aleichem and invite among us this sense of those angels, this sense of an extra feeling of peace in our home, so that this will be a Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat of peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bo'achem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. B'chunin leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'etchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we now turn to the Psalms, traditionally 6 Psalms for Kabbalat Shabbat, but we're only going to sing one. And this one is Psalm 95, the first in the series, on page 111 and page 70. L'Adonai, nariya letzuyishenu, nekaf mapanav betoda, zmirot nariya lo, yel kadol Adonai, u'melech kadol achol Elohim, בידו נחרי הארץ, ותועפות ההרים לו, אשר לא הים והוא עשהו, והיבשת ידיו יצרו. בואו נשתחווה ונכרע, נפרחה לפני אדוני עושנו, כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו אמר איתו בצאן על ידו. היום אם בקולו תשמעו. Today, if you would only hear God's voice, this idea that today on Shabbat, if only we all would have a day of rest, if only we all the world would create peace on Shabbat, then they say Mashiach would come. So with that, we turn to Lecha Dodi. Once again, this sense of joy in bringing in the Shabbat in our midst. Lecha Dodi on page 121, page 73. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zachor b'tibur echad, ishbi'anu el ha'amiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'litfilah, Yadadai, Yadadai, B'nai Shabbat, Nekabbalah, Lecha Dodi Likat Kala, Yadadai, 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 B'nai Shabbat, Nekabbalah, Likat Shabbat, Lechu B'neicha, Hi Mekor HaBracha, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת Nekabbalah, התעוררי, התעוררי, כתברך ומיורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, בואי ושלום עטרת פעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לי כלכלה, ידדיי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. That was a very joyful, full Lecha Dodi. And with that, another joyful song, Psalm 92, which is a song for Shabbat, specifically for Shabbat, on page 124, page 89 in Siddur Lev Chadash. Moshir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laAdonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלנה, ועלי היגיון בחינוך. נתמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך אמן, מה גדול תעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. And that brings us to the Baruch Hu on page 127, page 92, Siddur Lev Chadash. Et Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Amavurach, Leolam. Let us read together in English, and I know the English is different in the Reform and the Liberal seal, but we read the next blessing. Blessed are you, our God and Creator, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening twilight, who opens the gates of dawn with wisdom, and with foresight makes times pass and seasons change. Your plan sets the stars in their courses in the sky, creating day and night, turning light into darkness and darkness into light. You make the day fade away and bring on the night, separating day and night. You are the ruler, the host of heaven. Blessed are you, God, who brings on the evening twilight. Ahavat olam Israel, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, על כן אדוני אלוהינו שופטנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח ונעלוז בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך וחוקותיך לעולם ועד. הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם הלילה, נגי יומם הלילה. חבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב את עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהי, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, בכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ושוכבך וקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And then we continue with the second and third paragraph of the Shema, which continues on page 132 and 134 in the Reform Siddur, can be found on page 539 in the Liberal Siddur. But, of course, we go back to Lema Antiskaro at the end of the Siyat. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. העושה גדולות עד אין חקר ונפלאות עד אין מספר. וראו בניו גבורתו, שבחו והודו לשמו ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך ענו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, לא תהילות עושה אל. מלכותך אדוני אלוהינו, ראו בניך על הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, יפדה אדוני את יעקב, ובעלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, ועל ישראל. Those of our life and our sovereign, calls us to lie down in peace and rise again to enjoy life. Spread over us the covering of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Be a shield about us, turning away every enemy, disease, violence, hunger, and sorrow. Remove the temptation that awaits us, and the guilt that lies behind us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a God who guards and protects us, a ruler of mercy and compassion. Guard us when we go out and when we come in, to enjoy life and peace, both now and forever, and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, God, spreading the shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over all the world. And then we turn to V'shamru, the next page, on page 99, in the Liberal Siddur. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. So we turn to page 140 and page 97 for the Amidah. Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואלוהי אמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי רבקה, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, קונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, פוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, וחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיף הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים וחסד, וחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. תומך נופלים ורופף חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנת על החיות ביתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You made the seventh day holy to your name, as the end of the creation of heaven and earth. You blessed it above all other days, and made it holier above all other times. And so it is written in your Torah, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. O God and God of our ancestors, may our rest be pleasing to you. Make us holy by doing your commands, and let us share in the work of your Torah. Make us content with your goodness, and let our souls know the joy of your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your love and goodwill, let us inherit your holy Shabbat, and may all Israel who seek holiness find in it their rest. Blessed are you, God, who makes the Shabbat holy. Our living God, be pleased with your people Israel, and listen to their praise. In your great mercy, delight in us, so that your presence may rest upon Zion. Our eyes look forward to your return to Zion in mercy. Blessed are you, God, ever restoring your presence to Zion. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, לעולם ועד. צורנו, צור חיינו, ומגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת, ערב, בבוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, המרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, כי מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא, תמיד שמך מלכנו לעולם ועד. בכל החיים יודוך סלע, והללו וברכו את שמך הגדול באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. שלום רב. שלום רב, וישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב, על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום. שלום רב, על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Let us take a few minutes to read the meditation in silence. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. My apologies for my voice today. It's not very good at the moment. But I hope you can still hear me. Because as is the case very often on a Friday, I do always, in the week leading up to Shabbat, I look for a chidush, as they call it, something new on the Torah portion. And it so happened that I found a Dvar Torah written for a Jewish Theological Seminary in America, in New York, which I thought was very interesting, not very nice actually. So I warn you, because this is focusing on our parasha, and in the parasha there is a story, a really very troubling story that very often we do not even read. We skip over it because it's so horrible. And that is the story of Dinah, the only daughter that we know of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons and one daughter, we know, the daughter of Leah. And something horrible happened to her. That story is in our parasha today. And as I say, very often we skip over it and rather like to read other parts. Now here was a Dvar Torah written specifically for our parasha today, dwelling on what happened to Dinah and how that relates to what happened on October the 7th. It's written by Ayelet Cohen, who works for JTS, and she's Israeli. And it speaks from what she writes. She writes, one of the many shocking phenomena in the aftermath of October the 7th is the attempt to erase and deny the brutal sexual violence that Hamas perpetrated that day against Israeli women and girls. This has even been true of international women's rights groups, whose mission is to document sexual violence as a weapon of war. It's really shocking that this has been completely ignored, even internationally. To ignore the violence perpetrated against Israeli women is to erase their experience, writes Ayelet Cohen. Dinah's story is often overlooked in our parasha, rich with other narratives that are easier and more pleasant to explore. But this is not a time to shy away from difficult stories. Shabbat Vayishlach can be an opportunity for our communities to explore the ways our communities can become communities of support. Dinah is the only named daughter born to Jacob. Her existence is something of a paradox in the Torah. Her whole story is contained in 2 verses. Far more attention is given to the story of her brother's avenging of her rape than the story of the rape itself. We know nothing of Dinah's story before or after. Dinah herself never speaks, but it says in the Torah, "Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, who she bore to Jacob, went out to visit the daughters of the land." That's all she did. She went out to see some friends. And then she was taken and raped. Why is she named in this way? Rashi, citing several midrashim, comments that this is to emphasize that she has inherited an undesirable characteristic of her mother Leah's. Like her, Dinah is called Yatzanit, from Yotze and Yatza, which is to go out. One who likes to go out. Oh, that's very bad for a girl. Because Leah went out as well to meet Jacob to seduce him with the mandrakes in previous parasha. And that's how she got another son. This is in contrast to Sarah and Rebecca, who traditionally stayed in their tents. That's what good girls do. In this explanation, Dinah is blamed for what happened to her, as women often are. The focus is then diverted to her brother's vengeance, their interpretation of what happened to her, and their decision of how to react. We never hear from Dinah again. How do we discern God in Dinah's story? Well, we can to start by not blaming her. As Noya Sagiv notes in her book Dabri Torah, Israeli Women Interpret the Torah, Abravanel, who is a Portuguese scholar who lived in the 17th century, is one of the only classical voices who comes to Dinah's defense, claiming that the comparison to Leah is actually meant as a praise. In her book, Dear Shuni, Rivka Lubitsch offers a few alternative readings. If it is Dinah's going out which likens her to Leah, Lubitsch suggests it's referring to going out for an act of mitzvah. She was actually going out to do a good deed. She wasn't just going out because she was, going to the club or the equivalent of that in biblical times. And even so, why is that so bad to get what happened to her? So she's doing it for a mitzvah. Going out also makes her very much like her father, who went out on account of his brother Esau. Likewise, she went out on account of her brothers to find a place for herself. Because Dinah, Lubitsch writes, knew her place wasn't with her brothers. She went out to see the daughters of the land. Dinah was isolated, the only sister among brothers. So she went out seeking friendship among the women of the land. Poor girl, she had no one to talk to. Because Lubitsch also expounds on Dinah's silence. We never hear from her in the story. She writes, Dinah was a quiet person and had no voice, because the members of her household did not listen to her and didn't engage her in conversation, because the sages say, do not engage in excessive conversation with a woman. Goodness me. And that is why she went out to see the daughters of the land. Dinah had no voice. What's more, when it said, he, that is Shechem, who who raped her, when it says he abused her, it does not say, and Dinah cried out. Is it conceivable that she did not cry out? Perhaps this is a way in which Dinah took after her father. As Sagif asks, how is it possible that Dinah's father, Jacob, was silent after what happened to her? Because it says in the Torah, Jacob didn't say anything, only much later. Many of the women and girls who were subjected to terrible abuse on October the 7th have no voice either. Those in the international community who would deny the violence inflicted with such brutality on that day are willfully averting their eyes to further their own agenda at the expense of Israeli women. There is another group of Israeli women who, like Dinah, were not listened to. The Tatzbaniot, the spotters. For months before October the 7th, these young women, soldiers, whose job it was to constantly survey the border with Gaza, repeatedly reported deeply concerning observations that they asserted were Hamas training for incursions against Israel. They were ignored and overlooked, and they paid some of the highest prices on October the 7th. Listening to their brave and insistent voices will necessitate an important reckoning on the climate for women in the Israeli army and on the army's state of preparedness before that terrible day. All too often, writes Ayala Cohen, women are blamed, silenced, and forgotten. Earlier in the parasha, after that dramatic reunion, Jacob says to Esau that seeing his face is like seeing the face of God. Blaming Dinah for what happened to her, or obscuring her story, conceals the face of God. As painful and uncomfortable as the story of Dinah is, we must not ignore it or shy away from it. We must grapple with that text and what it teaches us about a rabbinic understanding or misunderstanding of women's experience, and learn how we must repair what is damaged and missing. We must recognize that we see more of the story and indeed more of the face of God when we see every member of our community. In the name of Dinah, as Israeli women give testimony, we must listen, we must recount their stories, and we must amplify their voices. So, as I said, not a very easy Dvar Torah, but I thought a very powerful one and very shocking, because the part particularly played by those women soldiers who had been noticing what was going on in Gaza and reporting it, and they were just not listened to, is shocking. It's a part of that story that I had not heard, and I think it tells a lot about society, Israeli society as well, and that story of Dinah is part of it as well. It's, as I say, a very uncomfortable story, but it is in the Torah, and interestingly, I think it is in the Torah there to learn from. How not to behave and how to listen to voices of people who are rendered voiceless in these stories, because she is still there in the story. And what is really interesting is that she is one of the few women who actually have a name in the Torah, because there's a lot of women out there who haven't even a name. They're called the wife of so and so. Noah has a wife. We don't even know what she's called, which is sad. So we have here a story that I think is preserved for a reason, and that therefore sometimes we have to even face those really, really uncomfortable stories in the Torah and see what we can learn from it, and what society, the world, can learn from it as well. So with that, we turn to Aleinu, which has this hope that the world will one day be a much, much better world in which people take their responsibility. And when it says that we all turn to God, doesn't mean that everybody converts to Judaism, but it means that everybody kind of upholds the morals that we find in Torah that God gives us. So on page 310. And Sidor Lev Chadash 520, 310 and 520. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Therefore, Almighty God, we put our hope in you. Soon let us witness the glory of your power, when the worship of material things shall pass away from the earth, and prejudice and superstition shall at last be cut off. When the world will be set right by the rule of God, and all humanity shall speak out in your name, and all the wicked of the earth shall turn to you. Then all who inhabit this world shall meet in understanding, and shall know that to you alone each one shall submit and pledge themselves in every tongue. In your presence, Almighty God, we shall bow down and be humble, honoring the glory of your being. All shall accept the duty of building your kingdom, so that your reign of goodness shall come soon and last forever. For yours alone is the true kingdom, and only the glory of your rule endures forever. So it is written in your Torah, the Eternal shall rule forever and ever. So it is prophesied, the Eternal shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Eternal shall be one and known as one. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We live our life, yet hardly know its nature. For from a mystery we come, to this mystery we return. The death of those close to our hearts grieves and humbles us. It reminds us that we all must die, like grass that grows in the morning, that grows so fresh in the morning, and in the evening fades and dies. So we end our years like a sigh. Let us think of those who died at this time in years past. In Mosaic Liberal, remember Barbara Baum, mother of Jennifer Gridley, Jonathan Baum, husband of Linda Baum and brother of Jennifer Gridley, Miriam Joy Cohen, sister of Shirley Ariel, Martin Gelman, father of Janine Spencer, Sarah Hart, mother of Paul Hart, Cyril Holt, brother of Phyllis Sanderson, Alan Grimgoltz, brother of Phyllis Sanderson, Colin Petch, brother of Christine Petch, Henry Warner, husband of Ursula Warner and father of Alison Warner and Jennifer Carter. In Mosaic Reform, we remember Anton Schneider, father of Joseph Schneider, David Pincus, father of Trevor Pincus, David Michaels, father of Sue Pollock, Jack Dickman, father of Linda Edward, Jeremy Banks, husband of Anne Banks, Joseph Abrahams, father of Michael Abrahams, Laurie Herrera, mother of Judy Smith, Margot Pollack, mother of David Pollack and Jeanette Liebling, Martha Harris, mother of Loretta Collette, Morris Janogly, father of Sharon Pink, Sam Ashmill, father of John Ashmill. Zichronam livracha. How can we accept the reality of death? By remembering the goodness of our loved ones and by shaping our lives after their example. For the memory of the righteous is truly a blessing and an inspiration for all our days. May our lives be always worthy of their memory. Let us say all together, Kadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Balma divra chirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chaye chon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye dichol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'izman karif v'imru Amen. Ehe shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'la'ameh almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal, שמי די קודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, באמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם, Imaru. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank Rabbi Kathleen for taking the service, particularly with a weak voice, and I hope that you recover fairly quickly from that. In terms of tomorrow's services, Reform service 10:30 at the synagogue, led by Rabbi Kathleen, and Liberal service 10:45, led by student Rabbi Martina Loregian. At the synagogue. It's 10:45 for Liberals. In terms of what's happening over the coming week, it's getting busy. Hanukkah is upon us, just to mention that, but we have Torah Tots tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We have a new members open day on Sunday. That's mainly for new members, but if anybody is a long-standing member and really wants to find out what's happening at the synagogue, you can come along to that. You're more than welcome. That's on Sunday at 3 o'clock. There's an art exhibition starting next week in aid of British Friends of Israel War Disabled. So that's running all week. There's Nissan Natter on Wednesday at 10:30. There's games on Thursday at 10:30 in the morning on Thursday. And then we have a Hanukkah lunch party. I think most people hopefully have received an invite for that or should know about that. It's been in the newsletter for a couple of weeks. If you want to come along to that, that's 12:30 on Thursday. You need to contact Angela at the synagogue. And then we get to Hanukkah, and we will be lighting candles every night of Hanukkah with a variety of rabbis. So I think first night is Rabbi Anthony. Second night will be all the rabbis as part of Shabbat Beitenu next Friday. So next Friday, Erev Shabbat service and candle lighting will be at 6:30. and I'll leave you to read the rest of the newsletter on your own, or the look at the website yourself. We have published a calendar of what's happening for every day of Hanukkah, so please look at the website. And just to remind you, as well as all of the things that are going on, there's lots going on, as you can see. We also have our regular events, things like Untangling Our Tradition on Tuesday, and Tea and Tehillim on, is it back at Tea and Torah now? I think we're back to, on Wednesday, and Talmud class on Thursday. So lots going on. Look at the newsletter, look at the website. And with that, we will conclude with either Yigdal or Adon Olam.
I'm very scared to ask what people want, because I know I will break the family peace in one household. So therefore, I will suggest something, and that is in anticipation of this very busy week of Hanukkah. We're going to sing Adon Olam, but on a very different melody, but a melody that you will all know, I'm sure. So please do join in. As I say, once again, I think after all those years, you'd think that Zoom would have found out a way that we could sing together, but it's a pity. But it's always nice to see you all singing with me. So Adon Olam on page 320, page 525 is Siddur Erev Chadash. Adon Olam Hashem Malach בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא כחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמזרע, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, בצור לחם לי ביום צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנפקוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אף כית רוחי, ואת אישן והעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, בידו אף כית רוחי, ואת אישן והעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, Adonai li velo ira. So, if you haven't got your candles for Hanukkah yet, then, not on Shabbat, but it's about time to kind of think about getting them soon. So, now, our final blessing, Yevarachenu Adonai v'yishmerenu, may God bless us and keep us. Ya'ir Adonai panav eleinu v'chonenu, may God's face shine upon us and be gracious to us. Yisa Adonai panav eleinu v'yasem lanu shalom. May God's face turn towards us and give us and the whole world peace. Now, I don't know about you, but after all that singing, I could do with a drink. So we turn to page 564 in Siddur Erev Chadash and page 452 in the Reform Siddur, and we get our cup and some wine, grape juice ready to make Kiddush. I hope you have a cup. Just raise it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, יהיו יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. חיים. If you have your challah ready as well, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Thank
Shabbat
you,
shalom.
Kathleen.
Have a good week. Shabbat shalom, Sandra.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Shabbat shalom, Rania.
Shabbat shalom, Brigitte. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Stefan.
Shabbat
shalom,
everyone.
Right.
Rabbi, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
2 words for you, honey and lemon.
Three.
With a drop of whiskey in, right?
That's the same mistake Joe Biden made with his, I can give you 2 words, made
Yeah.
in America. Honey and lemon.
It's true.
Could have said chicken soup.
That too, chicken soup, honey, lemon, and whiskey.
I wish you better, Rabbi.
We wish you well.
Thank you. And keep, as I say, keep warm. I think, Bernie, you look very warm. You have
I've got a duvet over me.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had that. Very
Not in bed, but I put it over me.
cat and a dog, you know, or a cat or something to snuggle up to. Yes, it's. I think it's going to be even worse. But
Before it gets better. Yes.
Yes, as usual.
Never mind. If it's like this throughout the winter, we should be lucky.
well, that's
If it's this
true.
bad, as long as it doesn't get any worse.
True.
Mm.
That's always a way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it is better when it's cold and dry.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yes. Then the wet.
I worry about is my plants in the garden, because
Oh.
last year quite a few froze to death, and now I'm really worried. I
Oh.
never thought that.
They're stronger than you think.
There is a magic word, Rabbi. There's a magic word to get through all of this. Long Johns. Long. Trust me, you won't go wrong.
There's an image that once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. There you
On that note, I think we'd better leave.
Isn't she lucky?
I never thought we'd have an Erev Shabbat service which mixed whiskey and Long Johns. But with that, I will wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Have a safe journey home,
Shabbat shalom, Stefan.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Wish you well.
Bye-bye.